Carolina won the toss and has deferred. Tyler Lockett, the rookie wide receiver and lead return man, has 2 returns for touchdowns this season. Graham Gano kicks it off, and here we go. It's through the end zone for a touchback. Russell Wilson leads his team on the field. You see his record at home, 28-2. An incredible record with the great 12th man atmosphere here.
Well, you can be called no better thing in life in football than a winner, and that's exactly what Russell Wilson is. He has that rare ability to put a team on his back and carry them to victory.
Seattle upset over the way things went last week in Cincinnati, where they blew a 17-point fourth quarter lead and lost in overtime. Wilson with time, puts it up deep for Kearse and overthrows him. Jermaine Kearse, one of their big players, and they went for him right away.
And they went after the older corner, the 13-year vet Charles Tillman. Russell Wilson telling us this week that he would not be shy in taking his shots. They felt like they had an opportunity against these Carolina corners.
Carolina with a big lift. Luke Kuechly, their middle linebacker, is back after missing 3 games with a concussion. There he is, one of the best in the game. Out of the shotgun, Wilson quickly completes it up to the 25-yard line to Ricardo Lockett. It'll bring up a 3rd and 5 for the Seahawks.
Well, Sam, we have 2 of the great players in this league back in action. Luke Kuechly gets hurt in week 1 with the concussion. They take the conservative approach. He finally is back and will give a huge lift, and going to be a tremendous matchup against that man, Marshawn Lynch, who's been inactive the last 2 weeks with a hamstring.
Fred Jackson is in at running back on 3rd and 5. Jimmy Graham, the tight end, to the left. That pass, he tried to thread it through for Doug Baldwin, who was broken up. Nice play by Benet Benwikere.
Just tight coverage. Russell Wilson very decisive, going to a guy he loves in clutch situations. A little bit behind, but believe me, he felt Luke Kuechly's presence in placing that ball behind Benwikere right on the spot.
Seattle, last 6 possessions of the game last week wound up with punts, and here they start off 3 and out. John Ryan's punt. They let it bounce at the 35. It takes a sideways bounce and out of bounds at the 34-yard line. And Cam Newton said he tried to get away from football, at least from the NFL, for a little bit during the bye week. But he went to see his brother's game, and then at Sunday brunch, he was watching the TVs a little bit, peeking at the TV.
Well, Pam had a great report on how very important Cam Newton thinks this game is for his team. He also told me privately, this is the type of game, this is a signature win that I need in my belt. Big game for Cam Newton.
Jonathan Stewart and Mike Tolbert are the running backs. Tolbert the fullback. There's Jonathan Stewart. Gets about a yard. Brandon Mebane leading the charge for the Seahawks. Defensively, the Seahawks feel they've got their game pretty close to where they want it to be.
They're playing well defensively. They aren't finishing. That's the problem, Seattle. They haven't finished, but the big miss, Bobby Wagner out. KJ Wright will slide over to the middle linebacker, and Pierre Lewis comes in at the will backer. But this is not the same team without Bobby Wagner in the middle, and the numbers show that.
What does he do for them at middle linebacker?
First of all, he runs this team. He's the quarterback of the defense. Second of all, a rare talent, speed, size, tackling ability.
Newton handing off again to Jonathan Stewart, and he stood up as he gets to the 40-yard line. Michael Bennett leading the charge, and that's one thing that Chris Richard, the defensive coordinator, talked to us about, rallying to the football.
Well, they feel like, and I do as well, Jonathan Stewart's very much like Marshawn Lynch. He's a tackle-breaking, big running back who also has the speed. Carolina likes this, though. 3rd and 5 situations where they want to be.
Newton being rushed, and they got him. Bruce Irvin with the sack. Dropped him back at the 33-yard line, 34-yard line.
Well, Michael Orr just flat out is going to get beat by Bruce Irvin. He's protecting that blind side, and Bruce Irvin says, Mr. Blindside, I'm running right by you, right into Cam Newton. Cam Newton never had a chance.
Lost back to the 32, a loss of 8. And Brad Nortman is in to punt for Carolina. So the defense is shining on the first possessions of the game. The return by Tyler Lockett. Leaps over one man and goes down at the 31-yard line. Seahawks. Defense was strong. Now Russell Wilson leads the offense onto the field.
This game is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, no fares, nothing to hide.
Back in Seattle, the Seahawks' second possession. Last week they ran the ball with Thomas Rawls as the running back, the lead back, with Marshawn Lynch out. They ran for 200 yards. Now Lynch is back, and they're expecting him to give them a big boost.
Well, and they were really excited with the way they ran the ball. This is a team that offense is predicated on running the football effectively. They did, and did so well last week versus Cincinnati.
There's Lynch behind Will Tukuafu, the fullback. He gets a couple of yards. We'll give him only 1 yard up to the 32. Luke Kuechly leading the way on defense.
And you watch Luke Kuechly. This is how you play middle linebacker. Such a great player. Sheds the block, finds the ball, and then finishes it along with his teammates for a great tackle. Just an extraordinary middle linebacker. It's good to see him, as well as Marshawn Lynch, back on the field.
Jimmy Graham is split out wide to the right. Lynch across the 35 to the 36, a gain of 4. Luke Kuechly with a tackle.
Well, this is the matchup we're talking about. Luke Kuechly playing quarterback, getting everyone lined up. He comes up to the edge. It's two great players, one-on-one in space. And then a little appreciation at the end. They both help each other out. That's great football.
Lynch to the sideline on third down again as the veteran Fred Jackson comes in. Wilson to Fred Jackson. Trying to force his way for the first down, and it looks like he did. Good effort by Fred Jackson as Tillman and Coleman combined on the stop.
Well, Russell Wilson, everybody knows about Marshawn Lynch and Rawls last week, but he's talking about Fred Jackson, professionalism, and that's professionalism, but it's just plain will. Second effort, driving his legs forward for the first down.
One of the big keys in this game, John, that we talked about with Seattle is getting the ball to Jimmy Graham. And they haven't yet. On the fake, Wilson being rushed. And he throws it away. Out of the pocket, Roman Harper blitzing from his safety position.
One thing that Ron Rivera, Sean McDermott, the defense for Carolina, and visiting with them, they're going to bring an extra guy often during this game. They feel like Russell Wilson is so tremendous when things break down. The best way to keep him in is by bringing one more. So the coverage is going to have to hold up in the back end. They're confident that it can.
Jimmy Graham splits wide to the left at the top of your screen. Marshawn Lynch trying to get outside, and they've got it covered. And they swarm to the ball, as we talked about. Luke Kuechly leading the way, joined by Thomas Davis. And what a linebacker pair that is.
Well, Sam, you called it perfectly. Swarming to the ball. That's what you have to do against the back like Marshawn Lynch. One guy's not going to get him down all the time, and he's going to keep those legs going. But watch all the Carolina hats get to the ball. Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, and here comes the rest of that Panthers defense.
3rd and 10. Fred Jackson in the backfield with Russell Wilson. Pressure from the outside. Wilson throws for Curse and misses. Charles Tillman covering Jermaine Kearse again. Did a good job.
And Charles Tillman's going to need to do that. He's going to be targeted a lot. Josh Norman, the other corner, has 4 picks, leading the NFL, playing at a very high level. So Peanut Tillman, Charles Tillman, who's had a great career, but he's in year 13. And when you're in year 13 at the cornerback position, people are going to come after you to see if you can still play.
John Ryan to punt for the second time in the game. Good high kick. Ted Ginn, fair catch at the 16-yard line. So Carolina on offense for the second time in the game, and that means Cam Newton leading the way.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly.
Now Carolina says they haven't changed anything in the bye week, so they're trying to find a way to break out of this after-bye slump.
Sometimes things like that just happen, you know. And Rodman very, very confident in this team as well. He should be.
From the 16, Jonathan Stewart wrapped up short of the line of scrimmage. Boy, both these defenses are aggressive. Michael Bennett and Bruce Irvin on the stop.
You see the Seattle Seahawks. They've played really good defense here the last 3-4 years, but when they get home here with the 12th man, they feed off that energy, and it's even better.
2nd and 12. Corey Brown shifts into the backfield. Newton with time, and he throws and overthrows Greg Olsen. That's their leading receiver. Kelvin Benjamin went down in preseason with a knee injury and is done, and Greg Olsen has become their #1 receiver.
And he is. And Bruce Irvin, I think that just really demonstrates his versatility. We saw him sacking Cam Newton on the last drive. Here he is 25 yards downfield, covering the #1 option, Greg Olsen.
Fozzie Whitaker, third-year man out of Texas, in the backfield with Cam Newton. All the receivers out. Newton throws, and it's intercepted. Earl Thomas with his 2nd interception in 2 games. The only 2 that the Seahawks have this season, but that's a big one in Carolina territory.
Well, Cam Newton, talking to him yesterday, said we can't have the unforced errors. That's always important, but here in front of this 12th man, he said it ignites the crowd. We can't have it, but Earl Thomas, he just stares down the eyes, and Earl Thomas, who does such a great job of doing just that and coming up with the ball. Only the 2nd interception for the Seahawks all year. Uncharacteristically low number for the Seahawks defense.
That's only the 4th time they've turned the ball over. Russell Wilson completes to Jimmy Graham inside the 20 to the 17.
Well, a lot of people in Seattle have been saying, where's that been? But Jimmy Graham getting accustomed to a new system. Russell Wilson getting accustomed to Jimmy Graham. Right there, he was wide open. But Darrell Bevell, Russell Wilson said, Russell's got to get to the point where he understands sometimes you just throw it up to this guy and trust that he'll make the catch.
Gain of 16 on the last play. On 1st down, Wilson to Graham. A little stiff arm, and he is ridden out of bounds at the 17, and out of bounds. We've got a confrontation between Josh Norman and Jimmy Graham.
See the end of this play, and I like this. The ball in Jimmy Graham's hands. They had him extended out in the slot where he's more comfortable. He hasn't been there a whole lot. Nothing big there. That's just football. Little good competitive juices flowing up there on the sidelines.
Josh Norman at 6 feet, 195. Jimmy Graham 6'7", 265. Marshawn Lynch ran into Luke Kuechly. And down at the 14-yard line, a short pickup.
Well, Sam, I'd say if you want to test yourself after a concussion, run into that man. And Luke Kuechly, He does just that, and that's just, again, tremendous competition. Two of the best players at their respective positions, and forget about their positions, two of the best players in football. Good one-on-one, mano-a-mano.
Early on, a big third down play. Lynch to the sideline. Fred Jackson in the backfield. Jimmy Graham, a tight end to the right. Wilson takes off. And he's brought down by Kuechly at the 12-yard line. A gain of a yard. And the field goal kicking unit come on for Seattle.
Well, protection has been an issue for the Seahawks all year, and that has not allowed them to target Jimmy Graham as much, but Roman Harper all over it, as was Thomas Davis. Russell looking for Jimmy Graham, trying to make it happen. Luke Kuechly in space, not many people make that tackle. Luke Kuechly says no problem.
Stephen Hauschka, you see the numbers on the streak, 11 for 11 this season. 30-yard field goal try is off the upright and through. Wow. You know you're living right when that happens. Pete Carroll, not sure, but the signal is good.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by DraftKings. Free one-week fantasy football at DraftKings.com. By Jurassic World on Blu-ray and DVD October 20th. And by Pizza Hut. Bring home the flavor with a twisted crust pizza.
What a beautiful city this is. It is a gray day, cloudy. It's still a beautiful city. The other day, Friday at practice, couldn't get a better day.
Seattle on a sunny day? I don't know. I'm not so sure it gets any better.
Stephen Hauschka with a boom off the post and through the uprights for the field goal. 3-0 Seahawks. Fossey Whitaker on the return takes a knee. And the Panthers will start from the 20-yard line. Take a look at this and listen. Boom! The bounces are starting to go his way. That's a strange feeling for Bobby Wagner, wearing the hat and jacket on the sideline.
You can't play, hang out with Macklemore.
Yeah, there you go. Good guy to hang with. Carolina's had the ball on offense for 6 plays, -5 yards. Jonathan Stewart, the running back. Stewart, a hard-earned 3 yards, maybe 2.5.
And Sam, you know, you see early a theme starting to develop. The Carolina Panthers lost their #1 receiver in Kelvin Benjamin. Right now, the Seattle Seahawks are saying, you're not going to beat us running the ball, especially on first down. I think Mike Shula, conversely, you see the lack of explosion without Benjamin. You got to throw the ball on first down and throw them out of those 8-man fronts. Get Cam Newton back. And remember, Kerry Williams, the right corner, he got torched last week, albeit against A.J. Reen. But cornerback is a confidence position. This guy, I promise you, doesn't have a whole lot right now.
The toss to Stewart. They reverse it to Brown. Brown picks up a block and gets across the 30. And gets across the 30 to the 31 for a first down. Earl Thomas forced him out.
Well, you see Michael Bennett start to track, but Mike Shula, understanding that this is an attacking, pursuing team, sometimes the best way to put a chill on that's throwing a little counter action on them, and they do it in the means of the reverse with Corey Brown.
Devin Funchess, rookie out of Michigan, second-round draft pick, is in for Carolina. Out wide to the left. Newton with time, and the pass for Funchess off his hands, incomplete. Had to reach back a little bit for it.
Funchess is a guy with the bye week. Two good weeks of practice. Mike Shula said they wanted to get him involved. They don't connect right here, but I like a couple of things. First of all, opening up the formation and then throwing on first down. It's a way to declutter this Seattle defense that's just stifling the Carolina Panthers right now.
And he went over the middle where Earl Thomas was hanging out and picked him off last time. 2nd and 10. Fake the draw, plays in trouble, and Newton is taken down by Ataba Rubin. Cliff Averill was there first. Rubin finished off. There's a flag downfield.
Holding, defense number 25, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
You see Richard Sherman, one of the best at what he does in the business, and good call by the official. He's all over it. He had a fistful of jersey and shoulder pad. Richard Sherman, usually not a grabber because he's got so much confidence in his ability, but it bails out Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers.
What would have been a big sack turns into a first down for the Panthers at their own 36.
They don't have the right personnel out there.
Little unsure. Panthers use a timeout. They trail 3-0. Well, if you haven't seen Rosewood, you're missing the most talked about news show on television. Morris Chestnut stars as the eternally optimistic genius crime solver. Don't miss it. All new Rosewood before Empire, Wednesday at 8, 7 Central on Fox.
I think Pam Oliver's a big fan of Morris Chestnut.
Yes,
right?
I think
Been in a movie with her.
I think she wants a role on that show. Mike Tolbert in the backfield. Brown in motion. It's Brown carrying around the end and out of bounds at the 42-yard line, make it the 43.
Well, you talk about the trickle, usually talk about the trickle down. This is a trickle up play. The fly sweep we see so much in the spread offenses from the colleges and high schools around. Corey Brown is a guy that you want in space. Type of punt run, type of ability. And Corey Brown says, I don't think I'm running into that guy.
Gain 7 on the play. 2nd and 3. Newton still got it. And gets a yard on the play. Kevin Pierre-Louis with the stop.
The one thing, Chris Richard, the Seattle defense, you talk about attacking. Look at this is the zone read. Watch off the edge. There's no slow play playing in between. They're going to take the runner, make Cam hold it, and then 2 guys are coming. They are not going to play in between like a lot of teams do. And that's given Carolina trouble with that zone read that's always so effective for them.
Chris Richard is the new defensive coordinator this season, with Dan Quinn going to Atlanta, taking over as the head coach. Brown shifts into the backfield. It's Mike Tolbert, the fullback. Shoved back, but they give him forward progress for a first down. KJ Wright, the middle linebacker, replacing Bobby Wagner. The injured Bobby Wagner made the stop.
Well, you need 2 or 3 yards. Give it to the fullback who weighs 250, and I don't think that's a correct listing in the program. I'd say more like 270 at 5'9", and he plods forward for the first down.
Tolbert remains in. Newton with time and completes to Greg Olsen. What a catch by Olsen at the Seahawks 41-yard line.
And I love that. We talked about the loaded box. How do you treat a loaded box? Watch what this is, the play action. The play action's going to pull the coverage up. You put the tight end right behind him with Greg Olsen. Tremendous execution and great call by Mike Shula. Understanding they're going to load the box. We throw. You got to play the game of opposites.
On first down. Cam Newton still has it. A design run, that zone read. And he is not afraid to run the football.
Now, we asked him about that, and is he afraid of taking the hits? And he looked at us like we were crazy, but he said, guys, I'm 250 pounds. I'm not afraid of anything. He is, and he has become more judicious about when he takes the hits. 4th and 1, I'll run over some guys. If it's not 4th and 1, I'm going to get down. He does a very nice job of doing that right there.
He's the second leading rusher on this team. He gained 8 on the last play. Jonathan Stewart in the backfield. Brown shifts. There's Stewart. Little cutback in the hole, and he gets across the 30 for a first down. Jonathan Stewart used to be in a nice tandem with D'Angelo Williams. D'Angelo Williams left as a free agent. Now it's Stewart carrying the load.
And I'm very fond of D'Angelo Williams, but I really think this is going to give the Carolina Panthers a lift, because I think they've been so in between the two that Stewart's never been able to use that physical style to impose his will on teammates. I think with the added snaps, provided he stays healthy, it improves Carolina.
10th play of this drive for the Panthers. Newton waiting, throwing for Olsen. That's broken up. Kevin Pierre-Louis, great coverage on Greg Olsen.
And there's Greg Olsen and Pierre-Louis. Remember, again, he's filling in for KJ Wright, who slides over for Bobby Wagner, and that's tremendous poise. And Chris Richard talks about peace at the moment of truth, having peace and don't panic. He does a great job of getting his hand in the right spot. Tremendous play.
Provided there's no penalty on this play, it'll be the last play of the first quarter. Jonathan Stewart, the running back. Stewart, good hole. Inside the 20, down to the 18. He's got a first down. Led by Ryan Khalil and Andrew Norwell. End of the first quarter. Seattle leading Carolina 3-0. Back in Seattle, start of the second quarter. Carolina, the only team in the NFL that runs the ball more than they pass it. And they've run the ball well on this drive. 12th play of the drive. First down at the Seattle 18. Jonathan Stewart. And finally, he is stood up. Strong run by Stewart down to the 11-yard line.
A strong run by Stewart, but what a surge by this offensive line. Just watch the whole offensive line. The double on Michael Bennett, pushing him down the field. Greg Olsen, what a tremendous job. This guy at one point was known as a receiving tight end. He still is, but he's added the blocking, driving Michael Bennett down 5 yards down the field.
3 passes, 9 runs on this drive for Carolina. 2nd and 3. Stewart. Slowed down, gets outside to the 5 and down to the 2. Cam Chancellor finally took him down, but Carolina's established their running game.
And that's old school football. They go unbalanced line to the right, and they're going to run power O, meaning they're going to double down and around with the guard. And then Jonathan Stewart, we talked about the physical running. Carolina starting to wear on this Seattle defense.
First and goal at the 2. Funches, the receiver, wide to the left. Greg Olsen is to the right side with 2 tight ends in, Ed Dixon as well. Newton still got it. Newton to the goal line, touchdown. Cam Newton with his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season. What a drive by the Panthers. The Seattle fans don't appreciate Cam's celebration.
But that fan appreciates Cam's celebration. He gets himself a nice football. But here's where Cam is such a weapon. You're going to fake to the other side with Jonathan Stewart. But look at that group of blockers. He's going to get behind him and use that 6'5", 250-pound frame to fall forward, and a tremendous drive by Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers.
Number 70 there, Trey Turner, one of the guys you pointed out. He really did a good job.
I think he's playing at a Pro Bowl level at that right guard position for the Carolina Panthers.
Extra point for Graham Gano. Outstanding drive by the Panthers, who now lead it 7-3. Cam Newton leading his team. 14-play drive that ended with a touchdown run and a souvenir.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Ford. We go further so you can. By DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV. And by Miller Lite. Back in its original bottle, but not for long. It's Miller time.
Coming in off the water. Now that's not the pilot Jimmy Graham up in the air, though he will at times. There's Cam Newton. And how about that drive, 63 yards rushing on that drive out of 80 yards.
Very impressive, and I thought the creativity by Mike Shula of throwing some on first down to get the drive going was huge, as was the Richard Sherman hold.
Graham Gano's kick brought out by Tyler Lockett. And he's brought down at the 10-yard line. Outstanding tackle on the play by Teddy Williams. And he's shaken up. Teddy Williams is hurting. And he will have to be checked out on the sideline. A big hit.
Teddy Williams, the first one down. And that knee to the helmet is never a good one. See Joe Webb, the former cornerback.
Seattle on offense when we come back.
Well, Sam, the day and age of keeping 3 quarterbacks, it doesn't happen much. So how do you keep yourself on a roster if you're Joe Webb, their third quarterback? You cover kicks, and he does it with some physicality.
He's 6'4", 235, third string quarterback. Pretty good coverage, man. Seahawks start from the 10. Teddy Williams walked off under his own power. It has to be checked out by the doctors. Couple of yards for Marshawn Lynch. We check in for an update from Kurt Menefee. Kurt.
All right, like Carolina, Green Bay tried to stay unbeaten. James Starks with a little flair from Aaron Rodgers. It's 7-0. They lead San Diego in the first quarter. Sam, John, and Pam.
Thanks, Kurt. And you can see how heated these two teams have become playing each other. This is the 5th time in the last 4 seasons. Luke Kuechly trying to gather his team in and settle them down.
Penalties after this to the goal. The down count, second down.
And the personal foul called on Ricardo Lockett. He got in a little scuffle with Kurt Coleman, but there is no love lost. They've played each other so many times, and the Carolina Panthers have that little brother complex, and the only way to tell the big brother that he's not going to be the big brother anymore is sometimes hit him in the mouth. And Kurt Coleman just draws the big brother, Ricardo Lockett, to react.
Lockett to the sideline, the ball back to the 6-yard line. Seahawks trying to gather themselves with Marshawn Lynch in the backfield. Thus far, the Seahawks 39 yards on offense. Wilson looking, nobody open. He takes off. Kuechly shoves him out of bounds at the 11-yard line. 6 tackles already in the game for Luke Kuechly.
He's all over the field. Watch Marshawn Lynch. We talked about this matchup early. It's not on Luke Kuechly, but look at that block on Coney Ealy, a defensive end. That gives Russell Wilson the outside. You think you have something, but here comes Luke Kuechly. The speed with which he plays. He covers ground. Russell Wilson usually 10 yards there. Luke Kuechly says, nuh-uh.
On 3rd and 9. Wilson completes it, and out of bounds is Chris Matthews, the big second-year receiver out of Kentucky. He's 6'5", 218, and a first down.
Remember, Chris Matthews showed up in the Super Bowl, and we all said, who is this guy? Well, they know they have a big and talented wide receiver in Chris Matthews, and Peanut Tillman learning how physical and big he is.
First down at the 23. Marshawn Lynch off the play fake. Wilson putting it up deep. Way downfield for Kersey, overthrown. Man, did he throw that ball a long way. The intended receiver was Tyler Lockett, excuse me.
Boy, did he chuck that ball. I mean, that is, again, Carolina loading the box much like Seattle. And Russell Wilson, that's 65 yards plus in the air. Tyler Lockett can flat go. And so Russell Wilson, sometimes guys just think I'm throwing it out there as far as I can. And no connection, but impressive nonetheless.
Seattle is putting together a pretty good-looking receiver core. It hasn't clicked just yet. Wilson again being rushed, steps away, takes off with room. Out of bounds, just short of midfield. The dangerous Russell Wilson, a gain of 29.
One of the things with Russell Wilson, he's become a better pocket passer. But Pete Carroll says, you know what? When he breaks out, some good things happen. Kuechly worried about Marshawn Lynch. Russell Wilson sees the green grass and gets big yards.
B.J. Daniels in the game at wide receiver, number 11. Marshawn Lynch. No, Wilson still got it. Good fake. Everybody went one way. Wilson went the other way. Russell Wilson taking charge of the game right now.
He is, and he's doing it with his legs. The run game's not working, the traditional run game. So you fake the run game. You get to the corner. Everybody chasing Marshawn Lynch. Russell Wilson sneaks out. What a great fake. And Coney Ealy left out there on an island with Russell Wilson.
Gain of 11 for Russell Wilson, down to the Carolina 42. Will Tukuafu is in at tight end. Wilson started to take off, and that time he was dropped by Wes Horton. Wes Horton starting for the injured Jared Allen. Jared Allen did not make the trip. Somebody that they feel will be very important to their defense.
Yeah, and part of the reason that Darrell Bevel, the offensive coordinator, is moving the pocket so much, they haven't been able to protect Russell Wilson all year. Came into today with 22 sacks on him, the most in the NFL, and Russell Wilson's been taking some hits, so it's a smart move to get the pocket moving a little bit.
Had a look at Charles Johnson on the sideline. He's out on short-term IR with a hamstring injury. Wilson gets time and throws to Jimmy Graham down to the 20-yard line.
Well, Jimmy Graham, I think the important thing, extended, not in the core of the formation. That's where he's comfortable. Seattle's starting to figure out how to use this guy with immense talent in Jimmy Graham. It's been slow to come, but it's starting to show.
Gain of 25 on the play. 3 catches, 41 yards for Jimmy Graham. Seattle in the red zone where they have not been efficient this season. Off the fake. Wilson, plenty of time. Now he's in trouble and shoveled it away, trying to get it to Marshawn Lynch, but it's incomplete. And Lynch and Kuechly going at it.
We're having a pushing and shoving match just about every play. In this game, it really feels like a division game. They've played each other so much. The games have been tight. Again, Carolina, this is the team. This is their nemesis.
And you were here, John, for the playoff game in January.
We were, and it was an impressive game. Cam Chancellor absolutely took over that game. But Carolina saying, we're not backing down. You're going to have to beat us.
Ball at the 27-yard line. Was ruled a sack, and they credit that sack to Ryan Dallaire, the rookie out of Towson, who had 2 sacks in his first NFL game 2 weeks ago.
Seattle has challenged that it was an incomplete forward pass. Timeout.
All right. Terry McCauley will check it out on the challenge. Seattle on the move, trailing 7-3.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by FanDuel, the leader in one-week fantasy football.
Back. Here's Terry McCauley with a
The
ruling.
quarterback pitched the ball forward. It's an incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd and 10 at the 20-yard line. Please set the game clock to 9 minutes, 19 seconds.
And Sam, pretty plain and simple. We don't even need Mike Pereira for that one because even an old safety could see that. We did consult with Mike, but that one's clear as day. Russell Wilson pushing the ball forward, incomplete pass.
Back to the 20-yard line. 2nd and 10. Marshawn Lynch, the running back.
Sunday.
Off the fake. Wilson being rushed. And throws, completes it. Inside the 5 and down to the 3-yard line to Luke Wilson, the second tight end.
It's Russell Wilson's ability to extend, but watch Jimmy Graham here. He's going to take about 3 Carolina Panthers covering him. Look at all 3. That opens up Luke Wilson. You have to give so much attention to Jimmy Graham, and Luke Wilson wide open, the beneficiary of all the attention going to Jimmy Graham.
1st and goal, just inside the 4. Will Tukuafu, the fullback, is in the lineup. Lined up as a tight end. Marshawn Lynch cuts it back. Gets down to the 1-yard line. The ball came out. The Panthers, pointing their way, think that they've got it. No. Seattle ball.
Well, they called down by contact, and I think it's a good call. Marshawn Lynch down the left elbow, and then Roman Harper punches it out after he is down.
Seahawks have had only 1 rushing touchdown this season. That was last week on a 69-yard run by Thomas Rawls. Lynch and Tukuafu in the backfield. Marshawn Lynch, touchdown, Seahawks. And now we've got another big get-together. One of the Seahawks was down on the field. That was the lineman Russell Okun, the left tackle, who helped lead the way for Marshawn Lynch.
Well, punch, counter punch. Tukuafu in there at fullback. That's 290 pounds at fullback. Luke Kuechly comes up, tries to meet him. Excuse me, not Kuechly, Ben Jacobs, and Tukuafu takes him right out of there. Easy touchdown for Marshawn Lynch.
So a great answer for Seattle after Carolina had an 80-yard drive. The Seahawks answer with a 90-yard drive. It actually was 94 yards because they were set back on a penalty for the 6-yard line. The extra point by Hauschka is good, and the Seahawks have regained the lead. And once again, we've got players gathering. Marshawn Lynch, good blocking, and he takes it in for the go-ahead score. What a special place to play. You talked about playoff atmosphere, John. This is week 6. You feel like it's week 18 or 19.
You really do. Not a lot of love loss. Thomas Davis getting his guys fired up, both sides fired up. The key now is poise. You got to stay poised. You can't have penalties that will hurt your team, but everybody's dancing around here.
Stephen Hauschka kicks it off through the end zone for a touchback. Carolina had their longest drive with 14 plays, 80 yards, followed by Seattle's longest drive of the season, 90 yards. And now Cam Newton back on the field. The Panthers have been running the football. They have 70 yards total offense, 66 rushing. Flag on the play, and they stop the play. False start.
False start. Offense number 88. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Greg Olson, the tight end.
Yeah, and credit that one to number 12, the 12th man. Seattle just really does have a true home field advantage. This place is so loud right now. Feeding off the emotion is this Seattle defense.
There you see it, the number 39. Ball starts. Newton passes, batted up in the air. It's incomplete. David King, the defensive tackle, got the big arm up. Marshawn Lynch, he's walking up and down the bench, pounding, pumping fists, shaking hands. Earl Thomas, 2nd and 15 for the Panthers. Cam Newton still has it. Tries to get outside, gets out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Picked up 7 on the play.
I think it's interesting when they've struggled. Carolina had a beautiful drive, but this one behind the sticks, they turn to their quarterback's legs, his ability to move, much like Seattle did on the last series with Russell Wilson.
Cam Newton, no huddle, talking to his players. Fozzie Whitaker is the running back. 3rd and 8. Blitz coming. Flag on the play. The pass is caught, but they've stopped the play again. And another false start on Carolina.
There is no play. Prior to the snap, false start. Offense number 88. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And again, it's Olsen. Is it the snap count, or is it just he's anticipating the snap too soon?
This place is deafening. I didn't see Greg Olsen move, and Greg Olsen, I didn't see any movement on that play, to be honest, and Olsen's saying the same thing. But this place is deafening. It truly is, and that's why it's such a home field advantage.
Newton to Whitaker. He's got a couple of blockers. And he's got a 1st down. Nice little play, just a dump off, safety pass. And a couple of linemen with blocking. That's Ryan Khalil, who was leading the blocking, but he is really in some pain on the field.
See Ryan Khalil, one of the best at getting out in front as a center.
The medical staff checking out Ryan Khalil. We'll be right back.
Well, you look at Ryan Khalil, he's going to get Cam Chancellor. There's a reason they call it the Legion of Boom. He put the boom right in that chest of Ryan Khalil. Right there. And got the wind knocked out of him. Hopefully that's all it is. And, you know, the best comment I heard when Cam Chancellor was gone, Marshall Faulk said, without him, they're just the Legion. They become the Legion of Boom with Cam Chancellor.
Fernando Velasco, 6th-year man out of Georgia, is in at center, replacing Ryan Khalil, who walked off under his own power. 1st down. And they go straight ahead up to the 35-yard line. Let's get an update from Kurt Menefee.
Well, Sam, and then there were none. No more winless teams in the NFL. It took until the final 2.5 minutes of overtime, but Matt Prater's field goal gave the Lions their first victory of the season, 37-34 over the Bears. Sam, John, and Pam.
Matthew Stafford passed for over 440 yards and 4 touchdowns as the Lions win their first. Right here, Ryan Khalil is back in, so just had the wind, the breath knocked out of him. 2nd down at the 35. Newton with time, wants to go deep. All the way down for Funchess, and it's up in the air and incomplete. Funchess got his hands on it. Earl Thomas almost had another pick, and Kerry Williams was there as well.
And that's a shot I think worth taking, though, if you're Cam Newton. You've got a big size advantage. 6'4", the rookie plunges against Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas does a tremendous job locating the football. Funches does a nice job of getting his hands on it. Earl Thomas afterwards saying to Kerry Williams, "I had it if you don't hit it out of my hands."
They both wanted the ball, and it fell incomplete. 3rd and 7. Newton throws to Greg Olsen, and he's short of the first down. Wrapped up by Cam Chancellor after a 5-yard gain.
Chancellor, I promise you heard the whispers. A lot of people talking about he got exposed in his coverage ability against Tyler Eifert and the Cincinnati Bengals last week. There, Greg Olsen catches it, but Cam Chancellor right there to stop him short of the line to gain.
And the punt away by Brad Nortman. Tyler Lockett at the 10-yard line, tackled immediately. Good coverage by the Carolina Panthers. 49-yard punt. There's a flag on the play. Trey Boston right there as Lockett made the grab.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 83. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
This has been quite a physical matchup, and much the way we expected this game to go.
It is. I mean, there's no love lost. These teams have competed a lot. They're playing tough. They're playing physical. At the end of the game, though, that's not what it's going to be about. It's going to be about execution. So you got to play tough and physical, but both teams, again, have to keep their poise. I think the quarterbacks are a big part of that. Both Russell Wilson and Cam Newton have done a nice job of staying poised.
What did you make of both teams getting long touchdown drives?
I thought it was great answers by both teams, and now the Carolina defense, they have to answer because they've kind of woken up Russell Wilson and this crowd.
Seahawks start from their 5-yard line.
190.
Marshawn Lynch squeezes through and fights his way. Look at the battle. Look at the will. He carried 5 or 6 guys for about 5 yards. Finally brought down at the 9-yard line. Excuse me, at the 14. And there's a flag on the play.
You talk about that poise. I think they're going to get Jimmy Graham for ripping one of the Carolina Panthers off that pile.
Jimmy Graham and Luke Kuechly having words. They were rivals in the NFC South.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 88, pulling a player off the pile. Half the distance to the goal. Down counts. Second down.
It's a big point of emphasis this year when they were having those fumbles, turnovers, or a situation like that. It got to the point where everybody was ripping everybody else. You see Jimmy Graham at the back of that pile come in and take matters into his own hands, and the officials all over it.
You can understand the player wanted to help out his teammate, but you can't do it because they're so concerned about it getting into something bigger.
And I've been in these games. The emotions are running high. The energy's got to be smart.
Back to the 7. It's Lynch again with a good hole. Lynch to the 22-yard line. And a flag on the play. And Seattle upset because it's against them. A 15-yard run negated.
Holding, offense number 76. Half minutes to the goal, second down.
Russell Okung, the left tackle, called for the hold. And the ball back just outside the 5-yard line.
Well, Russell Okung at the left tackle position. You're going to see him on Kuechly right there, and sure enough, good call by the officials. Now, the one thing, though, they've woken up Marshawn Lynch as well.
Boy.
This emotion, you see the burst he's running. A lot of people here in Seattle saying this week, not sure he has the same burst. I didn't notice that on film. I think he does, and he's showing that right now.
The rookie Thomas Rawls is in the backfield, number 34. Had a big game last week. Takes it around the end. Takes a hard hit and is out of bounds close to the 14-yard line. Rawls ran for 169 yards last week at Cincinnati.
And you talk about change of pace. Ben Wickery right there. You got to get upfield. You got to put an edge on it. Thomas Rawls is that kind of runner. That's fundamental football. You get to the outside leg and you turn Rawls back to your help.
Thomas Rawls, an undrafted free agent who had a very average combine, came from a small school, went undrafted, signed with Tampa. Then he went to the Washington Redskins in their practice squad, and that's where the Seahawks got him. Short drop by Wilson. He's in trouble, and they've got him for a sack. Led by K1 Short, number 99.
Well, we talked about the Carolina defense having to answer, and they sure did, and they attacked a weakness of the Seattle Seahawks, the offensive line. I talked earlier about bringing in extra guy. They brought 5. They felt like that's the best way to keep Russell Wilson. No spy, bring 5 and encircle him with defenders.
Second sack of the game for Carolina. Line drive punt by John Ryan. Fair catch called for at the 41-yard line by Ted Ginn. And one of the Seahawks, Jermaine Kearse, was on the sideline, got knocked down. Fans responding to everything that's going on. All the physical action.
This is the finish. Trey Boston, Charles Tillman, they just throw him out of the club, as they say these days, onto the sideline. I'm telling you, this is a physical game.
Holding, little smacking on the helmet. Boy, everybody's involved. Panthers start from the 41-yard line. Good field position. The Seahawks leading 10-7. Jonathan Stewart, the running back. Flag on the play, and again, they stop the play. That's the 3rd time they've stopped the play.
False start. Offense number 82. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's Jericho Cotchery, the wide receiver, this time called for the false start.
I tell you what, Sam, this keeps up. The 12th man's, they're going to get game balls because they're killing this Carolina offense.
3rd false start of the game for the Panthers. 1st and 15. Stewart got a little bit of running room, gets back to the 40 before he's shoved back by Kevin Pierre-Louis. Panthers starting the season 4-0 after finishing the regular season last year with 4 straight wins. So 8 straight regular season wins. They went 1-1 in the playoffs. They beat Arizona in the first round and then lost here in Seattle. Olsen shifting in the backfield. Newton puts it up and completes it to Jericho Cotchery. First down in Seahawks territory to the 46. We have reached the 2-minute warning in a tough battle here in Seattle. Get apps, videos, and more at itunes.com/NFL. 2 minutes remaining. Panthers with the ball at the Seahawks 46. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Newton takes it himself. Turns it into a solid gain down to the 37, about a yard short of the first down, a gain of 9 on the play.
And what's helped Cam Newton so much as a runner is the fact that he now has become a very accomplished passer in the pocket who can go through a progression. Richard Sherman said he's now taking the singles and doubles, not always the home run. That opens up the run game for him.
There's 2nd and 1. All the receivers out. Swing it out to the tight end Dixon, who dropped it. Brings up a 3rd and 1. Ed Dixon, who scored a touchdown a couple of weeks ago against Tampa Bay, when the ball popped out of the hands of Jonathan Stewart, and he caught it and ran it in for a touchdown.
Went 57 yards. He might have gone for some yards there, and he caught a ball.
Yeah.
Well thrown football by Cam Newton.
3rd and 1. 2 tight ends in, Olsen and Dixon to the right side. Tolbert, the fullback, that's going to be very close. He didn't get much.
It's as if he's short. Penetration by, I believe that's Averill getting in the backfield. It was Averill getting in the backfield. Nothing kills the run game like penetration. Tolbert does a nice job keeping his legs going, but short of the line to gain.
And Cliff Averill is shaken up on the play. The left end having trouble getting up as the medical staff comes out to take a look. A 4th and less than a yard coming up for Carolina. Seattle with a 10-7 lead in what has been a very physical game.
Averill, who got in the backfield there to disrupt Mike Tolbert. Watch him, it's holding that left knee. Penetrates. Maybe just a bruise, getting a lot of bodies falling upon him, but a great play by Cliff Averill.
Averill walks off under his own power. That always a good sign. Panthers going for it.
This is where having a 6'5" quarterback with mobility is such an asset for the Carolina Panthers.
Tolbert, the fullback. The fake. Newton puts it up for Olsen, and it's batted away. Too much air under the ball, I thought, John.
Well, too much air when you have Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas is a ball hawk. He's playing center field, but it's like he's catching the ball in right field. Watch Earl Thomas at the center of the play. Watch him read the eyes, and look at this range by Earl Thomas to go get that ball. Extraordinary play by an extraordinary player.
So the Panthers, who will get the ball to start the second half, had a chance to drive in for some points to end the first half, but are stopped. And now Russell Wilson, with 3 timeouts, is on the field from the 37 with Fred Jackson in the backfield with him. Wilson through the hands of Tyler Lockett, a rookie out of Kansas State, 3rd-round draft pick. An outstanding return man. There's Cam Newton on the sideline. See a light rain falling.
Lockett is a guy who's made his presence known in the return game, but has surprised everyone with how much he's producing at the wide receiver position as well.
Wilson on 2nd and 10. Gets away. Weaves his way up across the 45. And a timeout for the Seahawks. Let's find out what's happening around the league. Kurt, have an update with him.
All right, Sam, our team is here in studio getting you ready for the Visa halftime report. The Broncos today kept their undefeated season going in Cleveland. Meanwhile, the Bengals handed the Bills a home loss, and the Steelers touched up on the Arizona Cardinals. We'll have all the highlights and more as we move closer to the Visa halftime. Back to Sam, John, and Pam.
I love the way Kurt makes an entrance into the studio.
He's a smooth dude. You know, it's funny. I'm thinking Kurt's talking about the Denver Broncos. Everybody's saying, what's wrong with Peyton Manning? The Denver Broncos, 6-0 is what's wrong with them. How about that?
Cincinnati with a big win in Buffalo. They're 6-0. New England playing later. Marshawn Lynch in the backfield now with Russell Wilson, 3rd and 2. Wilson, and the pass is caught. No, it's dropped, incomplete. Jimmy Graham had it. Kurt Coleman broke it up.
Well, Roman Harper and Jimmy Graham, former teammates, and then competed against each other a lot in intra-divisional rivals when Jimmy Graham was in New Orleans, and a great job by Roman Harper getting his hand in there and getting that ball out.
Ted Ginn Jr. back to receive the punt of John Ryan. High kick. Fair catch, Wade Ford. And juggled and held by Ted Ginn at the 15-yard line with 30 seconds remaining. Fox Sports is proud to collaborate with Stand Up to Cancer, a groundbreaking initiative that accelerates cancer research and gets new therapies to patients quickly. For more information, visit foxsportssupports.com.
An interesting situation here. Carolina, you got 2 timeouts, and the question begs, all right, do you try to push it and tie this thing up, get a quick field goal? I think you trust Cam Newton, but Mike Shula says and Ron Rivera says not so fast. We're going to go into half.
They're going to play it safe. And they snap the ball. That will do it for the first half. And what a tough, once again, low scoring, close game, and we're at halftime 10-7. Coming up, the Visa halftime report. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy in the studio. They're checking out the undefeated teams. Lions getting their first win. They've got it all coming up, and we go to Kurt Menefee for all of that. Today's excitement is brought to you by Nissan. That was today's excitement, brought to you by Nissan. Getting set for the third quarter with Seattle leading Carolina 10-7. Sam Rosen, John Lynch, Pam Oliver down on the sideline. And you saw that excitement? That's just the start of things. What a second half we've got coming up here.
Oh, we do. You know, we've seen all the pushing and shoving. The guys at halftime were talking about it. I said it in the first half. That's not what's going to win this game. Emotion's good if you channel it correctly, but both teams have had costly penalties. For Carolina, this has been their issue against the Seahawks, not scoring points. They've got to find a way to get some explosion. I said early, Kerry Williams, the cornerback, the new cornerback for the Seattle Seahawks, he got torched last week. You got to go after him, I believe, to try to get some explosion in this offense.
I'm thinking a defensive play may be the difference in this game.
They may need it because they're struggling to move offensively, and it's hard against the Seattle defense.
Hauschka kicking off through the end zone for a touchdown. Let's go to the sideline to Pam Oliver.
Well, Sam, Ron Rivera, he did acknowledge that the Seahawks are moving the ball okay, but his biggest stressor is Russell Wilson. He says we have got to hold contain on him. We're doing a terrible job of that. Everybody's been talking about poise. Ron Rivera, well, he calls it aggressiveness and doesn't see a problem with it. Those 3 false starts, he feels that the officials are just calling that a little too closely. Pete Carroll did address poise back in the locker room. He said we can't be a part of any of that back here.
All right, the coaches trying to take control of their players. Thanks, Pam, for that report. Panthers start from the 20. Cam Newton outside to Whitaker. Fozzie Whitaker starting the second half and out of bounds just across the 25-yard line. See some numbers as both teams ran the ball pretty well.
They did. They both had very nice drives, but Seattle had a couple explosives. You need explosives to win in this league, and I like this. Mike Shula coming out with a little tempo, no huddle, to try to counteract the home field advantage of the 12th man.
It's Whitaker again, getting up to the 28-yard line. So Whitaker's starting the second half, not Jonathan Stewart. with Mike Tolbert at fullback. So we'll see if there's anything wrong with Jonathan Stewart, who rushed for 44 yards. He's on the sideline, looks to be okay. Third and 2. Newton shovel pass, missed. That's an incomplete pass. Tried to get it to Greg Olsen. And the Panthers failed to capitalize on getting the ball to start the second half.
And Sam, you know, the continuing trend, I talked about Kerry Williams having a rough game, yet they continue to attack him into the teeth of that defense, where Cam Chancellor and Brandon Mebane and all their strength is. Yes, Bobby Wagner's out, but this team with Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor, they're strong down the middle, strong on the edge on Richard Sherman's side. I'd go after Kerry Williams.
Brad Nortman's pump. Tyler punt to Lockett. Lockett with room to return. Gets up to the 38-yard line. Cam Newton wanted a better start to the second half.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency. Low fares, nothing to hide. By Burger King. Kick off fall with a new Oreo Pumpkin Spice Shake. By Visa Checkout. The easier way to pay online. Sign up now. And by AT&T. DirecTV and AT&T are now one, bringing television and wireless together.
Well, Sam, Pike's Place Market in Seattle, everybody's got their happy place. That's one of my happy places.
Is that right?
I come here, I get up early in the morning, I run. I brought my son on this trip, Jake. He's got a little bye weekend from football. We went on a nice run through Pike's Town, throwing the
breakfast
fish.
there?
It's all good.
Oh, yeah.
The original Starbucks.
Seahawks from the 37. Lynch took one hit, then Luke Kuechly wrapped him up for a loss back to the 35. First hit by K'Wan Short.
And again, it's team defense when you're playing Marshawn Lynch, because the first guy typically is not going to bring him down. There's K'Wan Short in the backfield. He slows him, and Kuechly and crew to come and finish him. The key is, and Pam Oliver mentioned it, Ron Rivera hit on it, how are they going to contain Russell Wilson and his legs? That's the challenge that Russell Wilson provides.
Second and 12. Wilson outside to Doug Baldwin, and Baldwin is dropped. Flag on the play. That's another loss. So these teams talked about staying ahead of the chains. The penalty upcoming on Seattle. And Ron Rivera says no.
Offense number 82. The penalties decline. Third down.
A couple of good defensive plays by the Panthers.
Josh Norman, you can't say enough about his play. We mentioned he's leading the NFL in interceptions with 4, but right there you see him elude the block, come up and make the tackle. Sometimes the light bulb goes off at different stages. He was a small college player from Coastal Carolina. In year 4, he has figured it out and playing at an extremely high level.
Have to get to the 47 for a first down. All receivers out. Wilson throws, and it is caught by Jimmy Graham. Great catch by Graham for a first down as he goes over 5,000 yards receiving in his NFL career.
Well, you know how I was earlier saying, sometimes with Jimmy Graham, you just have to throw it up and trust him. He throws it over Kuechly's head. He trusts his big man to box out Roman Harper, and that's exactly what Jimmy Graham does. If you're a Seahawk fan, you have to be excited about the fact that they're learning how to utilize this great weapon in Jimmy Graham.
27-yard gain on third down. First down at the Carolina 40. Chris Matthews motions. The toss, Marshawn Lynch back to Russell Wilson, and he throws it up top. And Ricardo Lockett's got it for a touchdown. What a play! Don't you draw those plays up in the dirt?
Well, I think Pete Carroll and company were watching the Stanford Cardinal the other day, because that looks very similar to a play they ran, threw it up. Another tremendous catch. Lockett, looks like Kurt Coleman's in perfect position, but Lockett goes up and just plucks it out of the air.
Teammates pounding Ricardo Lockett for the catch. Seahawks widen the lead. The extra point by Hauschka is good.
Unbelievable by Ricardo Lockett. High point the ball. That's exactly what he does. The concentration. Touchdown Seahawks.
Ricardo Lockett's first receiving touchdown since week 3 of last season.
And that's his reward now. You catch a touchdown, you go up and catch a great one. Go cover a kickoff, Ricardo Lockett.
And music seems to be playing now for Marshawn Lynch. 17-7 lead for the Seahawks. Joe Webb, one of the deep men. Hauschka's and taking a knee was Quasi Whitaker.
Well, a little razzle-dazzle. You pitch it to Marshawn Lynch. He makes a nice little throw back to Russell Wilson. Then Russell Wilson just trusts Ricardo Lockett. Kurt Coleman plays it quite well until the finish. When Lockett just goes up and over and pulls it in, that's just a great play by Ricardo Lockett.
Man. Came into the game with one catch this season, has 2 in this game. That one, a takeaway from Kurt Coleman. Jonathan Stewart back in at running back for Carolina. Cotchery shifts into the backfield. Stewart carries. Got a couple of yards on the play before he was wrapped up by Michael Bennett and Kevin Pierre-Louis. Big plays have hurt the Panthers against Seattle.
Carolina's inability has hurt them. It's hard to methodically drive the ball in this league. You need explosion in your offense.
Newton was hit as he threw, and it's intercepted by Cam Chancellor. He is taken down by Jonathan Stewart at the Carolina 34. Averill hit Newton as he released the pass.
And Cam Newton and company were finally trying to go after Kerry Williams. That's who he was going after. Corey Brown had separation. If not for Cliff Averill, that may have been a huge play for the Carolina Panthers. Cliff Averill with those long arms hits the arm, and I'm telling you, Corey Brown had Kerry Williams beat. Excuse me, it's Ted Ginn, and Ted Ginn had run right by him.
Yep. Averill just overpowered the tackle. Mike Revers on the play. Cam Newton, 2 interceptions. He had been intercepted only twice in the first 4 games. 2 interceptions today. So the Seahawks with great field position. Marshawn Lynch, the running back, motions. Wilson throwing short, completes to Jimmy Graham. And he's inside the 30, down at the 29-yard line.
Sam, we go back to that last play. Here's the look that Cam Newton, here's who he wanted. Ted Ginn beats Kerry Williams at the line of scrimmage. That's a touchdown if Cliff Averill doesn't save the day. Cliff Averill with a huge play.
Cam Chancellor with the intercept. 3 interceptions for Seattle this season. All coming in the last 2 games. Lynch and Tukuafu in the backfield. Wilson still has it, and he's dropped back at the 35. Read beautifully by Coney Ely, the defensive end.
And you have no idea how difficult that is to do. That is an extraordinary play by Coney Ely. Watch him on the corner. You have one of the great athletes in football trying to put the shake on you. Coney Ely just says, wait, come on, right here, Russell, and brings him down. Looked like Michael Strahan there.
That's right. Drop back to the 35, 3rd and 12. Fred Jackson in the backfield. Blitz coming. Shovel pass to Jackson. And he is hit and knocked out of bounds short of the 30-yard line by Bené Benwikere. A gain of 3 on the play.
That's great D by the Carolina Panthers. They came out. There is no quit in this team. And yes, they're getting beat by Seattle again. The offense has turned the ball over. But Luke Kuechly and company, they played great team defense on that drive.
Stephen Hauschka out to attempt a 50-yard field goal. The long snapper is Clint Gresham. The holder is John Ryan. He was clearing from 55 easily in pregame practice. And this one is good. Hauschka's been perfect this season. He's 2 for 2 today, 13 for 13 this season. Seattle with 10 points here in the 3rd quarter and a 20-7 lead.
This game is sponsored by Chevrolet. Use hashtag #IDrive4 and we'll contribute $5 to fight breast cancer.
Seahawks enjoying a run here in the second half as they've opened the lead to 13. Cam Newton's hit only 5 of 15 passes in the game. Seahawks defense has done a good job on him.
The story of this game's been the turnovers. Carolina comes in leading the league in turnover margin, and Seattle dominating that category today.
Whitaker takes a knee. As Carolina will start from the 20. Together, the NFL and the American Cancer Society encourage everyone to join in the fight against breast cancer. Find out how you can help make a crucial catch and share this message with friends and loved ones at NFL.com/pink. From the 20, Carolina needs to come up with something here to stop the bleeding. They've had 2 possessions, and nothing's happened on either one. Jonathan Stewart, throw for loss. Great penetration by Averill.
Cliff Averill is having himself a game. You watch Pierre Lewis on the edge. Come and take Dixon on, puts a hard edge on it. It forces Stewart to turn up. And Cliff Averill, who's been all over the field in the pass game, in the run game, taking control of Jonathan Stewart.
Without their starting middle linebacker, Bobby Wagner, the defense has done a good job. Newton steps back and throws and completes it to Corey Brown at the 30, right at the first down marker. He's got a first down. Richard Sherman was the man covering on the play.
What's difficult for Carolina right here, their their passing game has been comprised primarily of play action. That's what they've done to this point. They haven't done it extremely well without Kelvin Benjamin. He was such a part of their offense. And you see the turnover differential biting Carolina when it's been so good to them this year.
Jonathan Stewart running hard, keeps driving, and it turns it into an 8-yard gain. We check in with Kurt Menefee in the studio. Kurt.
And we check in on what's going on in Green Bay. San Diego going for the 4th and goal. Beautiful pass from Phillip Rivers to Dontrell Inman. Brings them within a touchdown right at the half. Sam, John, and Pam.
Thanks, Kurt. Green Bay 5-0, trying to stay undefeated. Carolina's 4-0. Those are the only 2 undefeated teams in the NFC. Stewart, good hold. And a good run up to the 47-yard line. Another first down. Andrew Norwell, the left guard, with a good block to open up things for Jonathan Stewart. 14 carries, 64 yards. for Jonathan Stewart.
Jonathan Stewart looking like Marshawn Lynch these last couple of runs. Little burst and little pep in his step.
Now it's Tolbert, the fullback, and he's hard to bring down. Down to the 46 of the Seahawks.
Mike Shula doing a nice job of sticking with what they do well, sticking with the game plan. But at some point, Mike Shula is going to have to find a way. He went for it on the deep ball where Cam Newton's arm was hurt, but they've got to get the ball down the field, get some explosive plays in this offense.
On second down. Fake to Tolbert. Outside but low. He threw it low to Jericho Cotchery. Didn't give him a chance to catch the ball.
And Cam Newton, just like any quarterback, the mechanics start below the waist with your feet. On that particular play, Cam never got his feet set, and as a result was errant with the throw.
Carolina goes no huddle.
See him stepping there, but never resets his feet. Thus the incomplete pass.
Big third down play. Panthers 2 for 7 on third down conversions. Newton under pressure, got it to Greg Olsen. Turns into a big gain. Hit by Richard Sherman. He goes down at the 24-yard line. 22-yard gain.
It took a while, but it was going after Kerry Williams, the guy I've been talking about. He got picked, and Greg Olsen takes advantage of a corner that's new to the system, has been struggling. And I'm telling you, when a corner is down, their confidence is down, you have to go after him.
First play over 20 yards for Carolina. They haven't had many explosive plays. That was an important one. Stewart and Tolbert in the backfield. Off the fake. Newton with time, and the pass is broken up by Earl Thomas, intended for Devin Funchess.
Well, Earl Thomas has been phenomenal today. In the middle of that field, he's been reading Cam Newton's eyes. He picked him early. He broke up another big play earlier, broke up a big play on fourth down to Greg Olsen. But look at him, reading the receiver, driving on the football. Just can't do it any better.
2nd and 10. Play clock winding down. They get it off. Newton puts it up for the corner. He's got it to Greg Olsen inside the 5 and out of bounds at the 2-yard line.
Well, that play goes to Cam Newton because you see the end of it. Greg Olsen 2 feet down, but Cam Newton, he checked to that play. He put Greg Olsen over on that side. He had 2 feet in earlier than that in the process, but credit Cam Newton putting them in the right situation and delivering on the throw.
1st and goal at the 2-yard line. Olsen has 4 catches, 61 yards. Jonathan Stewart to the 1, still fighting, and he is spotted inside the 1-yard line. Second and goal. Chris Scott is in as an eligible number 79 offensive lineman. 2 tight ends in. Stewart cuts in, and he is in for the touchdown. An 80-yard drive for the Carolina Panthers that they needed badly. An outstanding drive coming up with big plays.
Now look, who knows whether this team wins this game, but I'm telling you, they're growing up as a team because that answer right there, it's tough. The crowd's against you. It looks like they're taking over. The turnover margin's not going your way. They went, they found some explosive plays, and then Jonathan Stewart showing tremendous will churning those legs and driving it in.
11-play, 80-yard drive. And Stewart with his first rushing touchdown of the season. Extra point for Graham Gano. And it's through. (20-14). Jonathan Stewart powers his way into the end zone. 2 80-yard touchdown drives for Carolina in this game.
Extremely impressive, and Ron Rivera's got to be proud of his crew, and those guys in particular. That offensive line, big boy job right there on that drive. Taking over the line of scrimmage, staying with the game plan, and because of their play, Mike Shula was able to.
Tyler Lockett awaits the kick of Graham Gano. Lockett 9 yards deep, takes a knee. Another tough, close game between Seattle and Carolina.
One of the things going well for Seattle offensively today is the fact that they're getting that man, Jimmy Graham, incorporated into this offense. They're extending him from the line of scrimmage, moving him around. And Russell Wilson's trusting the fact that if you throw it up, this guy will catch it. I think Darrell Bevel's done a tremendous job putting him in different positions like he's accustomed to doing in New Orleans, and the production is showing.
5 catches, 72 yards for Jimmy Graham. Wilson on first down, trying to get it to Graham. It was broken up by Ben Wickery. Ben Wickery on the coverage.
That's a really good job because you're going up against a basketball player, and Jimmy Graham, Thomas Davis starting here had that. Jimmy Graham's so good at boxing defenders out. Ben Wickery fights around that big body and disrupts the ball.
Graham's best game of this season, 7 catches for 82 yards against the Bears. Marshawn Lynch, 2 yards on the carry. Luke Kuechly there once again. Brings up a 3rd and 8.
Well, that matchup's been as good as advertised. Marshawn Lynch and Luke Kuechly, as I said, coming in, 2 of the finest players in this league, having great competition here today in the middle of that field.
11 carries, only 28 yards for Marshawn Lynch.
Remember, he's one that was hurt by those penalties. He had some long runs that were brought back because of penalty.
Wilson gets time, the pass batted away and falls incomplete. K1 short with the tip of the pass, and it falls incomplete in a big defensive series for Carolina.
Well, that was huge that K1 Short got his hand, because Jimmy Graham had beat Roman Harper, was wide open, and that would have been trouble for Carolina, but K1 Short right there with those big mitts knocking it down.
John Ryan to punt. Ted Ginn is back at his own 23. Good high kick. Ginn waits for it. Backpedals at the 18. Reversed his field and is pulled out of bounds just short of the 30-yard line by Luke Wilson. Colin Cowherd is the most unique voice in sports, and you can see him every weekday only on FS1. On Monday, Colin will be talking about all the big stories from the college football weekend, the baseball playoffs, the NFL. He'll be joined by our Howie Long to talk about the NFL. The Herd with Colin Cowherd, weekdays at noon Eastern, only on FS1. Panthers start from the 29 after a 60-yard punt. Newton gets time, plenty of it, puts it up deep, and it is overthrown. Ted Ginn Jr. well covered by Cary Williams that time.
Yeah, I like the fact they went after him, and it Looked like at some point that may have been a penalty on Kerry Williams, but they let it go. He was hit with 2 penalties down the field last week.
A little contact
grabbing,
here,
but incidental. I don't know.
maybe.
But I like the fact you're going after him.
2nd and 10. Stewart looking for some room, doesn't have any. Great play up front by the Seahawks.
The one thing against a defense like the Seattle Seahawks, they're built on speed, so going sideways, no good. Get downhill, you see him stop and start, never a good thing against the Seahawks. You got to hit it and go downhill.
DeMarcus Dobbs fought off the block and made the tackle. 3rd and 12. They're coming after Newton. He's tripped up and taken down. Sack for a loss. Mike Morgan, the linebacker, gets in to drop Cam Newton, and Seattle's defense responds with an outstanding defensive series.
Well, credit Chris Richard, the new defensive coordinator. They bring 2 extra guys. That keeps Cam Newton bottled up. Here comes Mike Morgan to finish him off.
Brad Nortman's punt. He drives it deep. Backpedaling is Tyler Lockett. And a good return. And he's brought down flags on the play. 2 flags. And we will check it out after the tackle was made by David Mayo.
Chris Richard, the defensive coordinator.
Illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 32. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
Preston Butler was the man that was called for the foul. Early game headlines: the Bengals stay undefeated with a 34-21 win in Buffalo. Hey, Peyton Manning finds a way in overtime. They won in Cleveland 26-23, and the Dolphins, with their new head coach Dan Campbell, they win on the road in Tennessee 38-10.
Well, with what the Dolphins did, Oklahoma drill for everyone across the league this week. Bringing it back.
Seahawks start from the 16 with a 6-point lead. Wilson runs away and goes down at the 19-yard line. A pickup of 3. Luke Kuechly was there.
Darrell Bevel coming out, looking for Lockett on the deep route. Good coverage by Ben Wickery. And watch Luke Kuechly. Not spying, he's in a zone, but he sees Wilson break. And then the speed, the ability to catch Russell Wilson in space limits the gain for Russell Wilson.
Time winding down in the 3rd quarter. Marshawn Lynch down at the 22-yard line. Bring up a 3rd down play. K'Wan Short on the stop. We're heading for the 4th quarter with Seattle leading Carolina 20-14. The Seahawks have lost 3 games this season. In all of those games, they've had leads in the 4th quarter. In St. Louis, at Green Bay, and last week at Cincinnati. They let a 17-point lead get away. Right here at home, they lead by 6 going to the 4th quarter. Sam Rosen, John Lynch, Pam Oliver, glad you're with us as the Seahawks have a 3rd and 4 at their own 22. Wilson flushed out, looks deep, puts it up for Jimmy Graham. And he's out of bounds near the 30-yard line. Big day for for Jimmy Graham.
The chemistry between him and Russell Wilson is growing. You talk about finishing ball games. A lot of that is not just on the defense, on the offense as well. Jimmy Graham adjusting to Russell Wilson on the move, and Russell Wilson throws a beautiful ball after escaping the pocket.
45-yard gain. Jimmy Graham at 117 yards on 6 catches. Marshawn Lynch bounces away. Inside the 20, down close to the 15. That's his best run of the game.
You look at Marshawn Lynch. Defensive end throws him off him. Downfield, constant activity. Guy's a pleasure to watch, so fun. He lifts this crowd, he lifts this team.
17-yard run for Marshawn Lynch. On first down, Lynch again. Hard run, gets him 4 yards. We go to Kurt Menefee to get an update. Kurt.
Baltimore getting back in it against San Francisco. Joe Flacco. Nice adjustment by Steve Smith, who's back after that injured back. 34-yard score. It's a 1-score game. Sam, John, and Pam.
Both those teams trying to turn their seasons around. Jimmy Graham, his best game of the season. Seahawks with a 2nd and 7. Lynch. And a good job by the Panthers. Luke Kuechly was there, but Kurt Coleman, the safety, was the first man to get up and tackle.
And he's a guy that Ron Rivera pointed to. Their secondary needed to get better. They went out, got some pieces. Kurt Coleman, one of them, and Ron Rivera pointed to him and his play as a part of their improvement.
That was the 6th negative yardage play for the Seahawks in the game. Fred Jackson in the backfield now at running back. They have to get to the 6 for a first down. Wilson being rushed, and they got him. Thomas Davis came bursting through, and when he gets up ahead of steam, he can't be blocked.
Well, Thomas Davis was called by Russell Wilson to us in the meetings a true force, and Russell Wilson was right. He busts through when his team needs it most and makes a huge play. Does Thomas Davis.
So the Panthers force a field goal try. This will be from 43 yards out. Hauschka 2 for 2 today, and make it 3 for 3 today, and 14 for 14 on the season. The Seahawks open a 9-point lead on the Hauschka field goal after Davis had forced it with a sack.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Lowe's. Hurry in this week for great fall savings. By Charles Schwab, own your tomorrow. And by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL.
We are back in Seattle, where Cam Newton is going to find a way to get his team back, and he needs 2 scores. Joe Webb and Fozzie Whitaker back deep for the Panthers. Hauschka's line drive kick through the end zone. Another touchback. Baseball coming up on FS1, Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. Royals won the first 2 games in Kansas City. What a scene it'll be in Toronto tomorrow night, and our coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern only on FS1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Russell Wilson told us that he picked the Blue Jays at the beginning of the year. He said, don't tell the Rangers. He was picked up by the Rangers last year, but he knows Troy Tulowitzki fired up for the Blue Jays.
Cam Newton and the Panthers start from the 20. Jonathan Stewart, the running back. Stewart. Hit by Cam Chancellor. Fights his way forward for an extra couple of yards up to the 27-yard line.
I tell you what, Sam, whatever happens in this game, this has been a well-played football game. There is physical football going on all over this field from Cam Chancellor. Well-played football, teams answering when they need to. And now the big question is Seattle, who struggled so much to finish this year, uncharacteristically, can they turn that around?
Cam Chancellor with 8 tackles in the game. And now Cam Newton turns around, a flag flies. He had called timeout.
Illegal substitution, offense, 12 men in formation. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Cam Newton wonders why they called it when he turned around and called timeout, but you can't have 12 men out there in the huddle. Ron Rivera was asking the official the same thing. Ball back to the 22. Stewart and Tolbert in the backfield for Carolina. Newton throws low, and it's incomplete. Try to get it to Corey Brown. Let's go to Kurt Menefee for another update.
San Diego trying to knock the Packers from the ranks of the unbeaten. Their first possession the second half, and Darius Green, 19-yard reception from Phillip Rivers. Rivers at 300 yards already. More importantly, it's tied at 17. Sam, John, and Pam.
Thanks, Kurt.
Great coverage by Richard Sherman on Greg Olsen. Richard Sherman, one of the best in the business.
There's a big 3rd and 8. Newton gets time and completes it, but short of the first down to Ed Dixon, the second tight end. And a good job by K.J. Wright, who's playing the middle linebacker spot in the absence of the injured Bobby Wagner.
And you're starting to see the Seattle defense that we're also familiar with. Yes, they're going to catch some balls, but we're going to be right there with those big, rangy linebackers, and we're going to tackle Shirley, and that's exactly what K.J. Wright does.
That 5-yard penalty for the illegal substitution hurt Carolina. And the punt by Dortmund. Tyler Lockett waves for a fair catch at the 29-yard line. Seattle with a 9-point lead and the ball.
Sam, we talked about a playoff atmosphere coming into this game. It's been everything as advertised and more. It's been physical, it's been tough, and we got a ball game here in the 4th quarter.
From the 30-yard line, Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch. Lynch up to the 34. 16 carries, 44 yards. Give him 5 up to the 35. Wes Horton was in on the stop along with Luke Kuechly.
Sam, Marshawn Lynch running so well, but he's even more effective because you always have to be concerned with the threat of Russell Wilson keeping it on that zone read, and so you always have to keep people back on other assignments as opposed to getting to Lynch.
2nd and 5. Lynch hit short of the line of scrimmage. Good penetration by the Panthers up front, led by Star Lotulelei. Last season, just about this time, Carolina was 3-3. Seattle was 3-3, and they played Carolina here, and they beat Carolina 13-9 and went on to win 9 of their last 10 games.
The only hiccup in there after that was Kansas City. They came back, beat Arizona, and we saw them come close to winning another Super Bowl.
On 3rd down, Wilson, Jimmy Graham take it out of bounds, short of the first down. A good play by Thomas Davis.
A great play by Thomas Davis. Graham catches it, but Thomas Davis right there to knock Jimmy Graham out of bounds. And look at that speed by Thomas Davis. Incredible. This guy, 3 ACL injuries in his 11th year, but still a sideline-to-sideline player.
Featured on our pregame show today, Ted Ginn Jr. is back deep. 5th 3 and out in the game for Seattle. And the punt by Ryan. Ted Ginn at the 13. Taking it wide. Can he pick up a block? He's taken down. The coverage on the play by Seattle. 9-point lead for Seattle. The Panthers with the ball when we come back.
Today's game is sponsored by T-Mobile. Switch to the Data Strong network.
Well, so often overlooked as special teams. Watch Luke Wilson back there. Ted Ginn, one of the fastest guys in this league. Looks like he's on the breakaway. Luke Wilson just sits outside. Understands that his help's inside. That's a huge play. And Sam, I watched him. Pete Carroll was the first guy to greet Luke Wilson because he appreciated that.
7th time of the game, Carolina started from their 20-yard line. Newton hits Funchess, and it's popped away. Richard Sherman popped that ball out of the hands of Devin Funchess.
That's a ball Funchess you have to come down with. He's a rookie, and he's learning, but that's a ball in big-time situations you got to come down with. Cam Newton fires it in there.
No,
that's
he
just a
dropped
miss.
it. Yeah. I thought it was 3rd drop for Funchess. I thought Sherman got a piece of it, but no, he should have had it. 2nd and 10. Carolina's had 2 80-yard drives in this game for touchdowns. Newton fires and completes it to Greg Olsen. He's got a 1st down at the 32.
2 really impressive throws on back-to-back snaps from Cam Newton, firing that ball to Greg Olsen right across the middle.
Hurry-up offense for Carolina. Greg Olsen, 5 catches, 73 yards. Jonathan Stewart in the backfield. And Newton holds on to it. At the last second, he pulled it back and gets across the 35-yard line. He kept it in his stomach for as long as he possibly could.
It's almost as if they were fighting for that. Jonathan Stewart saying, it's mine, and Cam saying, it's mine. He's riding and he's reading. And Jonathan Stewart wanted that ball. Cam Newton said, it's mine, and he takes off.
Second and 6 for the Panthers. Under 7 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Brown shifts. Now it's Stewart carrying. Slipped a couple of tackles and gets a 1st down. That's a good run for Jonathan Stewart.
It is a good run, and you've got to stay within yourself, but you also have to be cognizant of this clock. It's a 2-score game right now, and you're down at 6 minutes and 25 seconds. You see Jonathan Stewart running hard, but they do need to up the urgency of the way they're moving and get this ball scored in a hurry.
Stewart, 19 carries, 77 yards. On 1st down, Newton with time, throwing outside, completes to Corey Brown. 1st down at the Seahawks 46-yard line. Kerry Williams covering on the play.
Kerry Williams has done a nice job, but this is where I'm going. This is a guy who's struggling. He doesn't want to get beat. So you put on the speed and then you put on the brakes. Corey Brown does a nice job of that.
Good throw by Cam Newton. Newton 11 for 26, 135 yards, 2 interceptions. All the receivers out. Newton throws. Dixon, the 2nd tight end, taken down by Cam Chancellor at the 41-yard line. Pickup of 5 on the play.
What this Seattle team does and has always done, they tackle very well. They're great tacklers in space. You see so many missed tackles these days. It's something they work on constantly, the fundamentals, and it shows with the way they play.
Cam Newton getting everyone set. And they don't have the right personnel on the field. Corey Brown ran on, so did Jericho Cotchery, and Cotchery ran off.
They're taking too long.
Newton under pressure. And the pass is caught by Funchess. He made a great leaping catch at the 33-yard line and a first down.
See that left knee, left elbow. Good catch by Funchess.
Wow. Second-round draft pick out of Michigan. They have high hopes for him. He's a big, good-looking receiver, but he's dropped some passes today. First down for the Panthers. All the receivers out. Newton throwing. What a grab by Olsen. Inside the 10, and he's to the goal line. He is stopped short of the goal line. Inside the 1. Great catch and run by Greg Olsen, who beat Richard Sherman on the play.
Well, Greg Olsen, this guy's a player. Cam Newton knows that. He trusts it. Good call by the officials. Greg Olsen short of the end line. But Cam Newton, if you've noticed, he stopped throwing the changeup. He's going with the fastball now. He is burning these balls in there on this drive.
How about these two tight ends, both over 100 yards receiving? 32 on that last. Here's Stewart leaping. Touchdown. Third 80-yard touchdown drive for Carolina in the game.
Pete Carroll, last week he said he was baffled. They were up 24-7 in the fourth quarter at Cincinnati. They don't give up leads like that. They did once again. Now that doubt creeps in if you're Seattle. Great surge by the line up front. Stewart goes up and over. No quit in these Panthers.
Panthers with 3 rushing touchdowns in the game, 1 by Cam Newton, 2 by Jonathan Stewart. A 9-play drive. They can cut the Seahawks lead to 2 points. And it is, the extra point is no good. Graham Gano pulled it, hooked it. It's still a 3-point game. Jonathan Stewart with a touchdown to make it close. What a game this has been. You see the way it's gone. Seattle led at the quarter, at the half, at the end of 3 quarters, and now it is a 3-point game. Another miss, no gimmies on the extra points. Graham Gano kicks off. And Tyler Lockett takes a knee. Seattle will start from the 20 with a 3-point lead.
And Sam, you look at that missed extra point. Gano hooks it, but Richard Sherman's presence, and that's been happening all day long, and it's like a quarterback getting hit. They feel that presence, and I think it had something to do, factored in, with Graham Gano hooking that outstanding hustle and play by Richard Sherman.
Wow. Because he knows, had they made the extra point, a field goal would have won it. Would be possibly a winning score. Now, if they get the opportunity, it could be a tying score. Marshawn Lynch splits out all the way to the left. Russell Wilson looked for him, flushed out of the pocket. Wilson gets rid of it and completes to Jimmy Graham. Up to the 40-yard line. 8th catch of the game for Jimmy Graham.
Well, Russell Wilson, he talks all the time about these clutch situations. He wants the ball in his hands. And here he goes again playing Houdini, because it looks like he's bottled up, but continues to escape. And now you talk about chemistry. We're seeing chemistry develop in front of our eyes with Graham and Jimmy and Russell Wilson.
8 catches, 140 yards for Jimmy Graham. Seahawks at the 40-yard line. 2 tight ends in. Off the fake. Then getting away momentarily from Shaq Thompson was Wilson. He runs across the 40 and takes a hard hit from Luke Kuechly. There's a flag on the play back at the 25-yard line.
Holding, offense number 24. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Marshawn Lynch called for the hold. Shaq Thompson, the local product, the guy who played at University of Washington with the pressure.
And Russell told us, I'm excited to play against Shaq Thompson. I'm a fan of his. You see Marshawn hold on to him. You watch the finish of this play. Russell Wilson told us, if I didn't like getting hit, I'd have played tennis.
Oh, he's a football player. He's a great athlete. He's a good baseball player. Ball back to the 30-yard line. First and 20 for the Seahawks. Carolina has all three of their timeouts remaining. Under 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Wilson with time, nobody open. Gets away again and throws it away as he was being chased. We go to Pam Oliver along the sideline.
Hey, Sam, the Seahawks defense does not want to see what's happened over the last few weeks again. They just had a quick huddle down here. They are trying to fire each other up, reminding each other to stick with what they know, play good technique, and do not let the lead slip away.
Thanks, Pam. Well, they know what's happening. It's in there. It's in the heads, as you said, John. That's the defensive coordinator, Chris Richard, urging his players on.
The first part of that bargain is Carolina's got to get the ball back here.
Yeah. Second and 20. Wilson being chased. Got it to Marshawn Lynch. And the Panthers are there. He barely got back to the line of scrimmage, and Carolina uses a timeout.
That's incredible. You see that since Super Bowl of last year, outscored by opponents 69-27 in the fourth quarter. And that's very unlike the Seahawks, and it's something that they have to fix, and the only way to fix it is to fix it. You got to do it. And today they've got that opportunity.
Well, 2:36 remaining. Seattle with a 3rd and 20. You put it up in the air, do you play it safe and then let your defense do the job?
I think you got to trust the defense, because you throw a turnover here, 3rd and 20, not a lot of plays in the playbook, you know, and so I think you throw it underneath maybe to Marshawn Lynch, try to let him go get the first down, but I think you got to be smart and trust your defense to go show that they can do it.
Blitz coming. Wilson steps up, and they got him. K'Wan Short taking him down. And the Seahawks forced the punt, and outstanding coverage by Carolina.
You know what they did, and I love it, 3rd and 20, Carolina blitzed. Not because, the reason they blitzed is because it's the best way to bottle up Russell Wilson. So they brought an extra man, and Ben Wickery, sure enough, got there.
Defense coming up big for Carolina as they get set to get the ball back with a little over 2 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. The pressure building, everything we expected in this game, and now Cam Newton gets a chance to be a hero.
Well, he talked about wanting a signature win and wanting this opportunity. He's going to get it right now. His defense has played outstanding. They just got the ball back. Now Cam Newton's got that opportunity. Carolina's got that opportunity to beat their nemesis.
And they blow the whistle. They stop the play as Ryan was punting.
Delay of game defense, number 24. Illegal movement designed to draw the offense into a false start. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
That's Josh Norman who was called for the illegal movement. So it gives Seattle 5 yards, but still they'll be punting. Cam Newton getting ready along the sideline for the offense to come on the field. Ryan, good, high, long punt. Ted Ginn lets it bounce, and it goes into the end zone for a touchback. Wow. Close games between these teams. 2012. Carolina came up a yard short and lost by 4. 2013, a fumble, and they lost by 5. And then last season, Russell Wilson led to a score, and Seattle won by 4. And then in the playoffs, as Carolina was driving, Cam Chancellor with the interception and a 90-yard return for a touchdown. That's the way these teams have played each other.
How big does that missed extra point loom now? You could have won with the field goal. Yeah. Now you can tie.
One timeout remaining for Carolina. Newton drops it off. Jonathan Stewart heads for the sideline, gets out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Picked up 8 on the play. Cam Newton on the last drive, the 80-yard drive, was 5 for 6. Greg Olsen, 6 catches, 105 yards. Two tight ends in, Olsen and Ed Dixon. Newton fakes, throws, and completes it to Ted Ginn up across the 45. At the 46-yard line, we're coming down to the 2-minute warning.
He's throwing the ball with some authority right now.
Carolina trailing by 3. Cam Newton finds Ted Ginn Jr. for a first down. Ron Rivera, Pete Carroll. Their teams have played hard. An interesting dynamic here. Rivera trying to stay undefeated. Carroll trying to get his team turned around. First down, Panthers at the 46. Newton throws, completes to Ed Dixon, and he's down to the 40-yard line. And he is very close to being within field goal range. Graham Gano was clearing 55 yards in pregame warmups.
But if I'm Carolina, I'm playing for the win right now. I want to put this thing away. This is your nemesis. The best way to do it is to knock him out.
Seattle has all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Newton being rushed, and he's taken down on the delayed blitz by Bruce Irvin. 3rd sack of the game for the Seahawks.
Well, Bruce Irvin has been outstanding. We saw the sack earlier. We saw coverage by Bruce Irvin. They run the stunt. He comes through hard to wrap up Cam Newton. He's so big, he typically eludes a rusher like that, but Bruce Irvin holds on for dear life and brings him down.
The Panthers use their last timeout. They've been set back to the 49. Bruce Irvin is 2nd sack of the game, 2 of the 3 that the Seahawks have gotten on Cam Newton.
Cam has so much faith in his ability to elude, but that's a ball you have to throw away. You were close to field goal range. Now you've taken yourself well out of it.
Have to get to the 30 for a first down. It's 2nd and 19. I think if they can get to the 35, they'd be within reasonable field goal range for Graham Gano. All receivers out. Newton throws and completes. The catch by Devin Funchess, who's had 3 drops in the game, but has come up with 2 big catches on the last 2 series.
Carolina now out of timeouts, hustling to the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 3 at the 33. Blitz coming. Newton throws. And it's caught by Jericho Conchery. He held on with Deshaun Shedd all over him. And it's a first down for Carolina.
We are seeing great competition. Tight coverage, tight throw, great catch.
Spike of the football to stop the clock with 37 seconds remaining.
Wow. His arm's in there. That's incredible.
I don't know how he caught that ball. The ball is at the Seattle 26-yard line, now definitely within field goal range. Play clock winding down, they get the play off. Newton steps up, throws for the end zone. Olsen, touchdown! How about that? Another 80-yard touchdown drive. 4 of them in the game for Carolina.
And I love it by Ron Rivera, by Cam Newton, by Mike Shula. To beat the champ, you got to knock him out. And Seattle, who has owned Carolina, Carolina could have easily just taken a knee, kicked the field goal. Instead, you go for the win. And Seattle continues to be unable to finish when they get these big leads in the fourth quarter.
Here is a huge extra point coming up. Right now, it's a 3-point Carolina lead. Graham Gano missed his last extra point try. Olsen accepting congratulations. He's had a huge game. Gano. And this one is good. It's a 4-point lead for Carolina with 32 seconds remaining. Seattle will get the ball, and they have all 3 of their timeouts.
And look at this. Greg Olsen right here. He's going to run right through the coverage. Richard Sherman sits. Earl Thomas, 2 of their best players defensively. Greg Olsen just runs right through them. You see the miscommunication. Sherman thinks Thomas has him. Thomas thinks Sherman has him. Cam Newton says, thank you very much. Cam with great eyes, looking to his left, coming back to his right, and throws a strike.
Greg Olsen's 3rd touchdown catch of the season. Carolina, they have put on some drives, and Cam Newton comes up with a big throw after he really struggled for 3 quarters. His best passing has come here in the fourth quarter.
Sam, he didn't start well. At one point, he's 9 of 23 for about 100 yards passing, and he got hot. Cam Newton told us yesterday, we hear the whispers. We're the worst 4-0 team in football, according to everyone. Well, we can show them right here that that's not us.
Tyler Lockett is deep. Gano's kick. Lockett goes over and gets it and returns. And he is ridden down. Shaq Thompson, who's shaken up. His knee hit the helmet of Tyler Lockett. The rookie Shaq Thompson, the starting linebacker, hurt on the play. He got downfield in a hurry. Shaq Thompson hurt. The tackle at the 10. Cam Newton has brought his team back into the lead, 27-23. And those 2 star defensive backs still looking confused over what happened. That's Jonathan Stewart, the touchdown run, finishing off an 80-yard drive, and then the touchdown pass to Greg Olsen, giving Carolina the lead for the first time in the game.
And Sam, you asked the question to Pete Carroll. You go back, you look at the film, do you see anything that's a similarity in all these fourth quarter collapses? And he said, I wish we did. There's nothing there. We're playing the same type of football. They said we're not getting the bounces. It's more than bounces right now when you've had this many fourth quarter collapses.
They've been outscored 13-3 in this fourth quarter. Now Russell Wilson has to take his team 91 yards in 29 seconds. They have all 3 timeouts remaining.
Carolina, keep the ball in front of you. That is paramount.
Wilson drops back into the end zone under pressure. He crossed the line of scrimmage and is ridden down. The ball came out, but he was down at the 16-yard line. And Seattle uses a timeout.
That play right there got some positive yards. It took a lot of time. And so Carolina perfectly happy with Russell Wilson running the football up the middle.
9 seconds off the clock, 20 seconds remaining. These two quarterbacks. But Cam Newton, 20 for 35, but his best has come in this fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter, no doubt about it. And the Carolina defense has stood up to Russell Wilson that was so elusive in the first half. They contained him a little bit better in the second half, made some key third down stops.
Second down and 3 at the 16. Four-man rush. Wilson gets it to Doug Baldwin at the 30-yard line. Another timeout. They have one timeout remaining with 15 seconds left, and they have to go 70 yards.
And if you're Russell Wilson, those are the kind of plays. Get the ball 15, 20 yards downfield so you at least have an opportunity to throw the ball to the end zone with limited time. They put themselves in an awful tough situation, and everyone here in Seattle just trying to reconcile how is this happening to this team. They played such great defense early on, and then another collapse deep in the fourth quarter.
This Carolina team has shown a lot. People critical of the teams that they've played early in the season, but they have come into Seattle and hung in there and found a way to take the lead. Wilson being rushed, steps up, throws long, way downfield, it's incomplete. Charles Tillman covering Jermaine Kearse on the play. There was some incidental contact. No flag.
Russell Wilson just unleashes it. And some incidental contact, but I think that's all it was. Charles Tillman doing a nice job of turning his head and locating the football.
And now just 7 seconds remaining. And the Seahawks 70 yards away. Wilson throws short. Baldwin drops it off to Ricardo Lockett. He dropped it off to a teammate, and that's it. The Carolina Panthers come from behind. Greg Olsen scored the winning touchdown. They stopped Russell Wilson, and Carolina remains unbeaten. They go to 5-0 with a tremendous win, 27-23 over the Seattle Seahawks.
I tell you what, Cam Newton, he said, I'm looking for a signature win. He just found one. Beating these guys under these circumstances, he put his team on his back along with his defense, and they stood up to the bully, and they knocked him out.
What a battle. And how about Luke Kuechly coming back after missing the last 3 games to lead the defense? We'll be back here in Seattle. The Seahawks have been beaten by the Carolina Panthers 27-23.